G'day and welcome to RCKicks. On today's show, well, we're back working on the Quadtrack from Tamiya. Now, if you haven't seen the previous videos of this, I've already built up the chassis and all the tracks. So I'll put a link up here, go check that out, as watching this now would be skipping over quite a lot. In this episode, well, we've got to paint up the body, do the driver, and then we've got to take it for a bit of a spin and fix a few mistakes from the last video, like putting the tracks on the wrong way around. But we'll gloss over that as it's an easy fix. Don't ask me why I missed that, but hey, there we go. So on this episode, we're going to finish up another project. Hit it, Charlie. So after a good few hours, this oddball is done. Now, a question that came up in the last video is, can I put the standard wheels on this? Does it come with all the bits that you needed to change it from the tracks back to wheels? And you do, you get the hexes, you can see them here. And it's a simple removing the plates, removing the wheels, putting the hexes on, putting the pin through, and then just putting the wheels on. So yes, you could convert this. You can use these tracks on a few other chassis. I know the TTO2 will actually work as well because they did another Quadtrack. Not sure how hard it would be to retrofit these to something else because there's this upward plate that's got two mounting brackets on it, so you might be able to do something with these tracks to put them onto a different kind of chassis, but I'm pretty sure you'd have to start messing around a lot more. So what can I tell you about painting up this body? Not as easy as you think. It did take me quite a long time, which is why this video is a bit later than I expected it to be. There is a lot more steps. Now granted, I did do a few other bits and pieces that are not standard box art. I did the bed in silver. I also did the arches in white, and apart from that, that's pretty much it really. But oh, and I did the front in black, but I think it tells you to do that anyway. But there is a few tips that I can give you if you're going to be painting up this body for this version or the actual standard wheel version that is available. And that is probably the biggest challenge is the white roof. Now the white roof is pretty easy to do unless it's deep inside a cockpit. And on this one, being that it's so high because it's kind of comical style, masking off on the inside is really difficult because it's very deep. Getting that nice tight line around so you get a lovely crisp line all the way around is a bit of a challenge, as well as painting it up and getting a nice smooth finish because it's just so deep you can't get your spray can in there. I would probably, if I was going to do it again, just leave off the white roof and then paint it on the outside, and then you could also clear it afterwards. So I'd probably go that way. Now if you're going to be driving it a lot, that will make it scratch easier when it rolls over versus doing it on the inside. But the compromise is this: if you do it on the inside, you do get the stickers in the kit, but putting the edge sticker around it is a bit naff because these corners are so curved, and the way that the roof curves over, you can't get them down perfectly. And if you actually look on the box art, you can see the same thing. So ideally what you'd rather do, I think, is to get as sharp a line as possible on the outside and then just do a single little black line all the way around it. I think it will look a bit more professional. But then you could also matte clear the top as well to make it look less shiny. So that might be a way to go. The other thing I'd probably recommend now is I did it in box art, but the dark blue, and there is a lot of black that you're supposed to paint in. The rear arches are supposed to be black. There's black at the front here where you've got this sort of fake winch. And there's lots of little black stickers that go on everything, and because you spend ages cutting them all out and masking them all off and painting them up, and you just don't see them because the dark blue is so dark. So that is I'd probably go for a different colour personally, maybe a gunmetal grey, or go funky colour, you know, sort of an old school sort of truck colour. There's that green that they do. versus the dark blue. I don't think the dark blue, it doesn't look bad, but I just think it doesn't show off all the detail, and this body has quite a lot of detail on it. That's why I decided to do the rear arches in white and do the bed in silver, just to make it stand out a little bit more, as it does look a bit bland. Granted, that adds to a lot of work, but all in all, cutting it out was not a problem, as the arch is already cut for you, and it's just a bit round the front, so that bit is super easy. But it's not the easiest to paint up. Also, if you're going to back it in black like I did, having a white roof and having white parts over here, you've got to protect them before you back it in black. So to do this white roof, not only was it difficult to mask up, I had to do it white. I had to do maybe 4 or 5 coats of white, then I did 2 coats of silver, then it was okay to back the thing in black. But then doing the arches in white as well, I had to do the same to those. So that means there's a lot of extra steps to get that dark black, a bit more professional looking on the inside. Painting up the driver was real fun. I really enjoyed it. I've never painted up this kind of comical driver, so I had loads of fun. And being that the face is a little bit bigger, it means it's a little bit easier for people like me who don't have brilliant painting skills. One thing that did take ages, but that's no different between all the driver heads, getting rid of that center line when you stick them together. I hate that line when you have the front and the back to join, but trying to remove it takes a lot of time and effort, which is what I did to this one. Now there is a red stripe that goes around the side, but it's such a big head, you can see the line that goes over the top, so getting rid of that. In hindsight, there is a screw hole in the back like normal. I should at the same time have just filled that in and got rid of it. Because it's so big, you can kind of see it from the back as well. But painting up the driver, pretty simple. Also, the cutout that it sits on was really easy to do, and it fits in there nice and tight. My only concern is the rest of the cockpit is open, so when you take this out, odds on you're going to drive this in the mud, dirt, snow. It's all going to get up inside the cab, and it's going to cover everything. And then the driver and the driver mount is on double-sided tape, so you can't just take it out, put it in, take it out. So cleaning around there is going to be a bit of a faff. So I would probably look at using Velcro instead of the double-sided pads if you're going to do it yourself. It is just a comical that's got 4 tracks. And yes, you can take something like the Avanti comical body and put it on and turn it into an Avanti comical. Now, I don't know whether I would bother upgrading anything on this. I'm a bit worried it's going to be a bit slow going. We'll just have to see. Also, what the turning circle's like. So maybe we'll tweak it a little bit. After we've done this run, I'll see how it goes. And then maybe I'll tweak it a bit. And hopefully we'll get some snow. And then we can take it out later. And I'll do another video when it's out running in the snow. But it's a definite different one. And it's very square. So I guess who is going to buy this? Well, really, it's going to be people that A, love comicals. B, something very different. Someone who's built lots of chassis and just wants to do something a bit different. Doing the actual tracks wasn't that difficult. It's a little bit tedious, but it's not crazy hours and hours of work. There's a lot more frustrating aspects to many cars, so I wouldn't let that put you off at all. So what do you think? Comment below. Let me know what you think. So after many hours, we have finished it. And yeah. Bit of an oddball, that's for sure. Very different. So all we've got to do now is take it out, give it a bit of a run, see how it performs, come back and then give you a bit of a wrap up. So unfortunately, it's not snowing at the moment, but it's cold. So we'll go out, take it for a drive, and then fingers crossed, if we see a bit of snow in the UK in the next 4-6 weeks, maybe I'll take it out again, run it in the snow, and then give you another update. Yeah, different. Right, let's see what this little thing can do. Obviously not off to a blistering pace. It seems to kind of like the grass. I don't think it has any issues with the grass or the frost. Turning circle, on the other hand, yeah. I did set the endpoints and they're not great, to be fair. Ground clearance is pretty good. There's quite a bit. It actually drove right over the top of my GoPro. Flicking up a lot of dirt into the body, which is a bit of a shame, but obviously you can take it off and clean it later. I fitted a waterproof Hobbywing ESC in this one, and it's a waterproof servo. Kind of a must, really. No issues with the damp leaves or the dirt. This is pretty easy for it to zoom along on, but as you can see, not very fast. This is a Silvercan 540, so you might want to go a little bit faster, or maybe a torque tuned or something. Obviously you can't go bonkers. Now you can't expect this to roll on, the friction is quite high, but very different and good fun. No issues with the shingle on the driveway whatsoever. It took it all in its stride, but as you can see, that turning circle is a little bit painful. It does tend to push on. Four-wheel steer would be a brilliant idea with this. So I thought I would try putting some logs down to drive over them. And one thing that this is definitely good at is driving over stuff. There was no issues getting over these logs at all. And later on in the video, I actually drive over some wet stones. So this is definitely a full-on crawler more than a trail truck. It's a little bit slow as a trail truck in this standard form. One thing we don't know is just how much abuse these tracks can take and how long they're going to last before you're going to start to have issues maintaining them. Now, driving over this wet rocks with all the leaves, it actually handled very well. There's not a lot that will actually get over this in this condition. So being that this is a tiny little RC, it does very well. So it has got lots of grip. Now in my configuration, I've got the paddles in the actual tracks. So once you get onto the concrete or the tarmac, it vibrates like crazy. So there you go, that's a tour to Quadtrack. And what can I say about driving it? Well, needs a bit more power for sure, especially some more torque, and I'd like a little bit more legs. It's quite slow, so you couldn't really use it as a trail truck as it was. I have to say that the actual capability of it going over things, being that it's got massive tracks on it, was very good. So I think this will be brilliant at the beach. It would be really good if you're messing around in some hills and stuff like that, or in a little stream or something. I think that would be really good as it is. How much abuse those tracks can take, I honestly don't know, but you do get lots of spares. So replacing a broken one wouldn't be too difficult at all. So I don't think that would be too much of an issue that, oh, I broke one, I can't replace it. You do get loads of extra ones, so you can chop and change those with no issues at all. So I wouldn't let that put you off. What else can I say about it? Turning circle is pretty poor. This crying out to be four-wheel steer. That would really help a lot because it's a short wheelbase, and because the rears don't turn, it pushes on quite a lot. Obviously you might get some different sort of results if you use more of the bucket scoop ones or less, plus depends if it's wet, dry, or that kind of stuff. Obviously if you do use the bucket parts, you can't really drive on tarmac, it just vibrates too much. So that's something to be mindful when you're putting it together, what you're actually going to use it for. But down the beach, I think it's going to be excellent. After driving it out in the wet and stuff like that, and then I've cleaned it off, the reason I don't have it here is it's now drying as I've had to wash it all down. Yeah, definitely don't put bearings in the actual Caterpillar track. They're going to rust super easy, so just stick with the bearings and save yourself a bucket load of money. So who is this for? Well, it's a difficult one. It's going to be very niche. Personally, it's not the cheapest kit in the world, and I don't really know. It's really going to be someone who has got lots of different cars and they just want something different. Somebody who is close to a beach, this would probably be suited to, but apart from that, it's a hard one. I don't know whether Tamiya are going to do any more of them. I just don't see them selling massive amounts of these. That's the only thing. And obviously they're quite expensive, like I said. Anyway, thanks very much. Please like and subscribe. And the minute we get some snow, I'll take it out and give it another blast. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye-bye.